I was discussing with a friend our choices of politicians to vote for. The person that I decided I'd vote for, I hated. He's a terrible person. But the alternatives to him are so much worse that I was left with no choice. My friend sighed with exhaustion and asked something that's had me thinking ever since. Shouldn't our leaders be the best of us? They say absolute power corrupts absolutely, and the world we live in seems to prove that. There's one exception that proves the rule that I'd like to cover. In Lucius Quintius Cincinnatus. He was a former consul who had retired from political life and ran a farm with his wife and sons. During his retirement, the Aequians had a little uprising and cornered the Roman consulate armies. These armies were trapped with no hope and no way out. Panicked, the Roman Senate convened and gave dictatorial powers to Cincinnatus, as he was a trusted member of society. The messengers that were dispatched to let Cincinnatus know he was now the most powerful man in Rome found him at his plow, working the fields. He went to meet the Aequian army, and with his military prowess, defeated them in 16 days. Upon his return, Cincinnatus was given a triumph and given the highest honors that Rome could bequeath. But instead of offering himself a dictatorship in perpetuity, which is what he could have done, and what some citizens wanted, he instead resigned his position and returned to his plow, giving up ultimate power in exchange for his simple life. He took the reins of power as a civic duty, not to benefit himself, and when the crisis had passed, he handed the reins back, a rare thing indeed. But fate allowed him yet another opportunity, and later in his life, he was once again elected to the position of dictator to quell a different threat. Once again, upon his victory, he returned the power and returned to his farm. This is the type of leader that we as a society deserve. Leaders who live with virtue and act for the good of society. Unfortunately, the systems that we have now throughout the world are built upon corruption and lies. The story of Cincinnatus is the exception that proves the rule that absolute power corrupts absolutely. Because in order to find an example of a leader who represented the best of us, we need to go 2,500 years in the past. There are other examples in George Washington, Nelson Mandela of course, but I don't want to overcomplicate things, and the point still stands. It is a very rare thing indeed to have the person in charge actually care about the people.